Okay, so I figured I would just randomly sort of troubleshoot this. So the overall shape looks pretty reasonable, but like if you hit the 3 key, you'll see that there's a lot of sort of weird mesh errors that don't necessarily show up in the unsmoothed view. So I just kind of want to run through some of them. So that soft select. So this one is probably the easiest to fix. It's just the, like if you look at this, it looks like there's nothing here. This was basically just an extrude where the face never got moved. So in that case, you should be good. Oh, and there's actually, whoops, I missed a face. I missed another face. Okay, so this weird little thing floating here is just a face that's not attached to anything. But you should be good. Just sort of delete all that once you get back down to a hole, and then go back in and just sort of append that closed. So the goal with, I usually use the smooth mode a lot to sort of troubleshoot models, because it, like I said, it's really good about showing issues in geometry. So this area, I'm not entirely sure what's happening. It seems like there's just sort of a random face hanging out between these other two faces. So if we delete that, that area is pretty much good now. And then I'm just gonna go through, I have absolutely not entirely sure what's happening here. So I think this area might actually just be easier to kind of... Actually, let me try something really quick. Let me try select my object and going to Edit Mesh Merge. And that actually helped, sort of, but it might have also sort of low-key broken other stuff. But what that'll do is basically merge all vertices that are closer than this specified threshold. So I noticed that there was like a bunch of stuff sort of attached, or like in the same spot in this area, so it kind of went and cleaned some of that up. And then, oh okay, this is also one of the issues. So if we delete these top faces, you'll see there's another face floating inside here. That'll definitely cause issues, so that should get deleted. And then this is going to make an n-gon, and actually it doesn't look like these faces are really doing anything in terms of the shape, because this is just defining a flat edge. Oh, I guess it's like helping a little bit with a tiny bevel here, but I still think I'm gonna just get rid of these for now. Make sure to get those vertices, which should have been deleted but weren't. Actually, the fact that that's not deleting means that there's a piece of geometry, yes, okay, hanging out inside here. So I think go through to sort of delete all of these. So this is actually one of those areas that I sort of mentioned in class where you have an edge with more than 3 faces attached to it. So make sure to go and delete like anything you see that, where you see something like that in the model, delete that. It looks like there's some more faces floating around inside here, and once we delete those, it pretty much fixes some of the issues on the top of this. So I think the rest of this is probably going to be similar issues where it's just going to be like a lot of hidden faces. So I'm going to go ahead and bridge these back together. And let's see, what do we have here? Alright, so I'm just straight up just going to go inside my model because I feel like that's probably where a lot of these issues are. Alright, so we're inside the model. We can see that there's definitely some faces kicking around in here that we don't need. I'm just going to kind of marquee select over them. I'm not being overly careful to not delete stuff on the outside of this. Actually, in this case, maybe I should have been careful to not delete those. Oh, okay, sorry, that was the blade. That was actually fine-ish. Okay, so there's a big... I'm gonna run an n-gon search on this, and I feel like it's gonna come up with a few things. I'm gonna go mesh cleanup, select matching polygons, apply. Alright, so apparently this whole face is an n-gon, and this is an n-gon. This is just a hole in the model here, so that should get cleaned up. But it looks like I can't really tell what these faces here are doing. So I'm just gonna kind of delete them and then like re-add them back in later. Okay, and then this thing is... Alright, so there's also some like internal clipping on the blade. That should get cleaned up. I think it might be easier in this instance to just sort of low-key delete a lot of this stuff and then like re-add it back in. Actually, I'll leave that one little face. Alright, so we have some more faces just chilling on the inside of the model here, which should get deleted. Cool. Alright. This seems to be fine as a face, but it is clipping a little bit, so that's something that I would want to maybe just do... Oh wait, or is this an n-gon? What is this? What are you? What are you? Okay, no, that is in fact a quad. It's just a really weirdly shaped quad. So actually, I think I might... I might just kind of merge these dudes together and just make that a try. I think in this instance that would be better than the quad that was like so stretched. This face is clipping through itself and can get deleted. It seems like there's some extra vertices just sort of hanging out in the same spot, or like close enough where they're not really doing anything for the shape, so what you can do is just grab all three of those and just sort of merge them together. And I think now we're ready to start more or less rebuilding this blade a little bit, so I'm just going to append these together. You could also use bridge for this, but for some reason I grew up on append, so I'm using append. You will also notice, like, when I click this, it's showing me all of the extra sort of empty, unattached sides, and this one, like, it's highlighting some edges that look like they should be connected to something, but they aren't, so those are also areas that you're going to want to go through and just double check later. So I'm not, in this case, I'm not really sure what's happening here. This feels like maybe... Sometimes, honestly, Maya just does weird stuff. So every once in a while I find that, like, a face is more or less fine. You just have to go in and sort of, like, remake it and, like, just delete the face and redo part of it, and then it'll kind of, like, fix whatever the issue was for some reason. So I'm not really sure what's up with that in terms of, like, Maya being weird, but, like, now it seems like this is, you know, fine, so... Shrugs, I'll take it! One of those weird, weird quirks of Maya, as it happens. Alright, so it seems like there's a few faces like that, where it's just gonna kind of force me to go through and, like, redo bits of the model. So I'm not gonna do that. Really? Okay. So I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time doing that, because it's pretty much, you know, the same systematic thing. It also looks like this is an N-gon, this face right here, and this edge is not doing anything, so I can just delete that and that becomes a quad, so that's fine. I'm also not... This vertice isn't doing anything, it's just there. So delete that as well. This edge seems to also just be a random floating vertice, so if we get that, it'll kind of close the model back up. And then something was weird here. If we smooth this, you can see there's like some geometry that looks like it's trying to like clip itself or something bizarre. So I feel like that's probably also going to be like an extra vert somewhere, or it's this N-gon. I'm going to go with N-gon. So what I'm going to do is just append, I'm just going to append this down to tries. So it, okay, what? Ooh, weird, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna marquee select over these and try to do merge to center, and that. Oh, okay. So there's a weird face here, face with no volumes. If we delete that, and then we do, whoops, append to polygon, I think that should probably fix that issue, maybe. Except there's more faces there with no volume. Question mark. Okay, so we delete those. Okay, so now that area is more or less fixed-ish. This area I think is just another one where it's just gonna be yelling about the faces not being there because Maya's being a jerk. Technical terms, Maya's obnoxious. As much as I love Maya, it is very annoying. So I'm actually just gonna run a mesh cleanup on this. I'm sorry, a mesh fill hole, and it'll fill out without me having to append to polygon. Alright, so now if we smooth this, it's obviously not designed to smooth, but there's no... okay, yeah, it's obviously not designed to smooth, but there's no areas except right here where it's, like, obviously being super crazy broken. This is just because of the try that we have, so that's just, I think, how that's smoothing. I don't think that's actually a mesh issue. And then obviously there's this ginormous hole that we have here on the top that should get filled. So I think what I'm going to do is do a mesh fill hole, and this is going to shamelessly leave massive N-gons on the model, which I will need to fix, but I can go through with the multi-cut tool and work on those a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just sort of define one weird large quad here, and connect. Oop. We have another little quad there, and then if we do this, we have another quad, and this isn't like super sexy geometry, but it kind of works, I guess, for what we need. And I don't know exactly what I did here. I think this was just me being stupid when I was moving stuff around, but that obviously should get squished back down into place. So this could still definitely use a little bit of, you know, shaping based on what I did, but I think at this point it's at least clean and like free of geometry errors if you wanted to go forward with this. But yeah,